If mindset is 80 to 90% of success, why aren't more people mastering it? Welcome to the Championship Mindset Podcast. I'm Spencer Senn, founder of Freedom and Healing, Championship Mindset, and the creator of the I.G.O.A.T mental method. This is really for athletes, coaches, parents, and anyone ready to be their best. Each week, you'll hear real stories, meet real people, get real advice and tools to make mindset your priority. You know, as a young top athlete, my career ended in an instant in injury. My life spiraled out of control, surgery, addiction, loss of identity, until years later, God placed world-class mentors in my path. And they didn't just heal me, they helped me reclaim control of my mind that I never had control of before in my true self. They trained me. Now I help others do the same. And this podcast supports that divine calling. And the weirdest part, I didn't see any of that coming. Okay. Part of my mission is upgrading the minds of athletes and people or anyone starting as early as the age of 10 so they can be their best, perform at their highest, and also have fun in sports and in life. The I.G.O.A.T method upgrades the unconscious mind, the software that drives us, cleaning out all the garbage, programming, shifting patterns, beliefs, and behaviors, creating permanent improvements. All right. You can catch this podcast live every Friday at 12 p.m. Central on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Replays will be on those as well, and Apple, Spotify, and Stitch. All right. Since the sails are up, the wind is right, let's go. Today's guest isn't just a sailor, he's a storm in motion. From youth sailing on Ireland's national team to world match racing tours across the globe, Ryan Fitzgerald has faced the wins, the wipeouts, and the bounce backs. He's captained teams, coached at top yacht clubs, and races an ex-American Cup boat like he's late for the medal ceremony. This isn't just about sailing. It's about purpose, mindset, grit, pushing forward when the current says quit. Ryan, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Hi, Spencer. Thanks for having me. I'm doing very well, thank you.
Absolutely. It's great that you're here. So let's start at the beginning because I know you sailing, we have talked a little bit, and we were going to start there and you were going to kind of just share who you are, all that kind of stuff, how this got going in sailing, and I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, so I'm Ryan. I'm 26 years old, and I started sailing with my parents when I was very, very young on our family boat. Quickly got into racing dinghies at our local sailing club, and that's where I got a hook for racing.
And that was in London?
I was born in London, but we moved to Ireland in a town called Wicklow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's where I caught the competitive bug, and I just wanted to beat my friends.
Okay.
So badly. And it worked out quite well. It took me a little while, but eventually I started beating them, and then I eventually got onto the Irish national team. And that was a huge confidence boost for me. However, I then, not even a year later, got dropped, and that was tough.
And dropped meaning?
I was off the team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that was that a surprise? Was that a surprise to you?
Yeah, it was, and it hurt because when I was on the team, I was like full of confidence. I felt really good, and when I didn't have that anymore, that was a tough pill to swallow.
Okay.
And it was kind of it was embarrassing almost. People would ask like, "Oh, you're not on it this year," and then I'd have to try and explain why when I didn't really know why.
Okay. So your focus, what I hear you saying is your focus, it sounds like you were competitive. So you had the mindset to be driven, and then you started to get into that, and then your legs were cut out from you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly that. Yeah. And then, when I was 16, that was a tough pill to swallow. And I still did a bit of racing, but not really. I didn't have the same drive at all anymore until I got into college.
Okay. So
Um,
did you feel like you lost identity, or I mean, what happened in your mind? Not only the, feeling like, oh man, how did you come back through that? I,
Honestly, it was with a bit of support from friends to make sailing fun again.
okay.
At a youth level, it's still very competitive, and I would say you probably put a lot more time in your youth than I definitely do today. So then when you're told that like not going to cut it, you're really thinking, okay, I'm not cut out for this at all. Um, but
So you
here
doubt,
I am today, so
yeah.
it
So
wasn't
you
the end of the
doubt,
world.
right? So in essentially, you were doubting yourself, which I mean, that happens to everybody, right? We go through experiences, and then what we wanted or expected just doesn't happen. And
Yeah,
then we
yeah.
have to, how do we bounce back from there? It's a process mentally. Sounds like you had a support system. Sounds like your interest outweighed the setback. Uh,
Oh, completely. Yeah. I just had to reset a little, go from international racing back to club racing with my friends, having fun, and it was easy to get back in because it was the first time I kind of heard no, like
yeah.
no, you can't be on this team. So yeah, that was a tough pill to swallow. But then I got into college sailing. It's very inclusive, and then I really started to find a place there. And
Okay.
when youth sailing didn't work out for me, team racing, which is a different discipline, it's closer to what I do now than match racing. It's a bit more strategic, less focus on pure boat speed, and long-term strategy. And yeah, that was a bit more fun.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
went from the individual to the team. What did you
Yeah.
learn? What did you learn in that process?
Oh, I had to talk to someone. It was that was another tough lesson, I'd say. So that brings me to my next kind of wall that I had to conquer.
Okay.
So coming
Pause.
from the youth, I still had like this little bit of I think I'm better than most of the guys here.
So ego.
So yeah, a bit of an ego. Yeah, yeah.
And you have
And
to have a bit of an ego to perform and do well, but just
oh,
not too
for
much,
sure.
right?
Yeah. You got to believe in yourself, but you can't, in a team, it can't just be one person telling the other person what to do. It doesn't work. Because
Yeah.
then if you've got a team of two people, like you and your crew, and you're the one making all the decisions, and the other boat's got two people making the decisions, you're only using 50% of your boat. You're already
Okay.
behind. So that was another tough one to work around. And I remember people were telling me that my friends stopped sailing with me after a bit because they were saying, Ryan, you're a bit of an asshole on the water.
Okay.
So yeah, I really then had to like reflect on that, and yeah, I got a lot better. Instead of shouting, I took in people's opinions, and then thought about it a lot more. Yeah,
Well, it sounds too that you learned in the process, which I have as well, to not only have an open mind, but really depend on others around you and ego to be able to receive other people's feedback, influences, impact. Who we were talking earlier, there was somebody that really inspired you in doing sailing and doing racing. Who was that again? I forget the name.
Ian Williams.
Ian Williams. Okay. And
Yeah, yeah.
to be candid, I don't know. I don't know anything about sailing, so I'm learning a lot from you right now. But I'm also applying it to real world, thinking about how I can apply this stuff in my own life. The closest thing I know about sailing, my dad was in the Navy, so and I know he loves sailing, but I don't know anything about it. So I appreciate you sharing all this, and for anyone that's hearing how maneuvered through all of these buoys, right?
Yeah, yeah. Sailing is a very teamwork dependent sport. If you're not working as a team, you're not winning. So when I was shouting at my crew. It is also what I knew to be, that's how you sailed the boats. Because everyone I had sailed with before, you know, they were at the back of the fleet as well. They would be shouting at their crews, and I thought that's just how things were run.
Okay.
And it's only in the last 5-6 years that I've been on teams that are really like professional. And you notice how everything's calm. You only shout to be heard. You don't blame people. You don't shout at people. You might raise your voice if it's really windy, but that's just so you're heard.
Sure.
And you really notice everything is calm, even in like the stressful situations where you're coming into a turning mark and there's 6 boats coming in. It's the same comms over and over again. People will say the same things. Yeah. And it's do the short battle, which is like in the boat, and then get your head out of the boat again as quickly as possible and back to big picture. Where do you want to position yourself?
Okay, so is that a constant shift, constant adjustment?
Yeah,
and then you have everybody else doing it with you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I think is helped me a lot working in the company that I work for, Oriflame. Is a boat is a lot like a company. You've got your CEO at the back who's making the ultimate decision, and then you've got all these stakeholders in different parts of the boat. Everyone's got input, and then the CEO makes the ultimate decision. If you guys aren't all doing your jobs, it's really hard to focus on everything going on outside the boat. So it's really important to get your stuff inside the boat sorted really quickly so you can focus on the bigger picture. And that's kind of one thing that you do a lot in sailing is go from big picture to small picture to big picture. You're never focusing on one all the time.
Okay. Yeah. So, so you explain a little bit more about what you do in your job, because when you told me, I was like, wow, I didn't even think that was a possibility. But again, you know what I mean? So share a little bit more about what you do and how when you shared with me, when you do talks to people, with people, how you're helping them navigate those waters so they can understand how to apply moving forward.
Yeah, so to answer the first part of your question, aside from my sailing career, I'm also a beauty product developer for a company called Oriflame Cosmetics. Now they're hugely supportive of my sailing. They allow me to take unpaid leave and very much dictate when I take my paid leave and vacation to suit those sailing regattas. And yeah, I always kind of talk to them about a race course for sailing is a lot like a company's goals. Say you have a top mark and a start line at the bottom, and the wind's coming straight down. And boats can't go straight into the wind, so you got to zigzag and pivot all the time. Some boats will have started the race much earlier, but usually they're a bit bigger, they're a bit slower. Boats nowadays are even flying, so new companies have just as much of a chance as getting to that top mark first. The other thing to be aware of is the wind never goes in one direction. It's always kind of oscillating. And I like to just say that that's trends changing.
Okay.
And the shortest way to sail the course is to play the trends, play the shift, as we like to say. So each company is a little boat. You've got to manage that first, but then to be a really successful company, you got to have your head out of the boat, and you got to position yourself up the course. Hopefully playing the shifts quite well, and then you'll be the first to the top mark.
So you have a plan, you have a team, you have a vision, you have somebody leading that, and then everybody working all of those aspects, including the shifts.
Exactly. Yeah.
All at the same time, right? And then in sailing, I can imagine, I mean, what do you do when, nature, I mean, how powerful nature is. All of a sudden a storm comes, or way bigger waves, or there's got to be those would be considered shifts, right?
Yeah. There's a huge dynamic and an element of luck to racing in sailing. And the best thing you can do is read what's in front of you, whether that's the direction of the wind or a dark patch of water that could be a bit of extra breeze, and position yourself. And also position yourself against your opponents. If you're between them and the top mark, you're doing all right.
For
If
sure.
you're not, you need to switch things up.
So when you say trust, I heard faith. Okay. Faith. That's what rang in my head. What I mean by that is you have to have faith in the universe. You have to have faith in powers that we don't understand. Oh no, you said luck, right? I heard faith from luck because you're dealing with all of these variables, but then there's Mother Nature, and then you're dealing with competition. So you're having faith that your competition is going to compete, making you better. And then you have nature, you've got all these other components. I guess, like if I'm listening to you right, all of those would be considered shifts through the whole process. So there's a lot going on, which reflects really the same in no matter whether somebody's a sailor or not, whether they're just having a regular life in their job and dealing with their relationships, their career, their finances, their kids, school, the outside world, all that goes on. I get a vibration that you that trust, that faith is huge. And part of what I help people to try to help them move out of their own way is allow this stuff to happen, and then you navigate what to do. Do you get a sense of that as well?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's sometimes you can't force strategy, so you've got to play it out to the best of your ability.
Well, you can force strategy, but like what I've learned, anything forced doesn't turn out the way you
Yeah.
wanted or expected. You know, I had a scenario yesterday. I'm coaching U10 softball girls, and these parents, the coaches, they're like trying to jam a round peg in a square hole, and I'm like, guys, that's not going to work. It's not good for the athlete, and it's not good for the team. So whether it's an office room, a team of people, or whether it's how many guys, is it guys and women that you race with on a team, and how many people are on that team?
Yeah, it's open. So I race with Sail Plus Racing at the moment.
Okay.
They're
Sail
an Australian sailing team.
Okay,
And
called
sorry?
Sail Plus.
Yeah, Sail Plus. And it's much more than just like the racing team. The mission of Sail Plus is every year, if you're 19, is usually when you drop off from sailing or sport in general, especially girls. So Sail Plus is trying to bridge that gap between youth and professional and keep people in the sport, whether that's through the coaching programs and the clinics, or giving people the opportunity to race on TP52s in Sydney, which are big professional sailing boats, and through our own match racing tour campaign. So yeah, we have open team, so girls and guys can race, and the World Match Racing Tour is open.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can have mixed teams, and then the size of the teams is very dependent on the boat. So I'm flying to New York tomorrow for the Oak Cliff International and the Thompson Cup in Oyster Bay. And we'll be 5 people on that boat. It's a 40-foot boat. We were racing in Marstrand in Sweden 2-3 weeks ago, and we were only 4 on that boat. It was a 28-foot boat. So depending on the size of the boat, how many people we'll have on board.
Okay. So now with this race coming up, does it go by distance or?
So yeah, match racing is kind of one of those funny ones. When I tell people that I sail all over the world, they're like, but you have a job. How do you do this? I'm like, oh, no, sorry. I fly to a place, sail around in circles, and then I fly home.
Okay. All right.
So
All
match
right.
racing is it's kind of set up like a World Cup. You've got your round robin stages where everyone races everyone, and then that seeds you into a quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and then the races are only 20 minutes long, but they're intense.
Okay, so a lot of pressure. So leading into that, when you go into a match like this, okay, a race like this, what's your ritual? What do you do to prepare yourself before that starts? And then what shifts with you once it starts?
So what's interesting about sailing is a lot of the race actually happens before the start. And what that is you're trying to get your boat speed up as quickly as possible. A lot of the time we're in new boats that we've not raced before. So we're tuning the boats so they go as fast as possible. Um, and then we're working out our strategy. So where's the wind coming from? Is there any land that we think it's going to bounce off of? How often are the shifts oscillating? Things like that. Which end of the line is more favored? And then you've got the entry, which is when the two boats meet for the first time. Bearing in mind, there's actually still 4 minutes to go before we're allowed to cross the start line.
Okay.
And we spend those 4 minutes circling each other and pushing each other to one side so we get the best position off the line.
Strategy?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
like a sailing version of two 5-year-olds pushing each other before doing a 100-meter sprint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Very
So
cool.
then, yeah, before all that, to manage the pressure, it's it's very much a case of like hyping each other up. We'll smack each other's on the back and like, right, let's go. And as soon as the front sail gets hoisted, everyone's getting locked in, and it'll take like 5 minutes to get fully locked in. But we're doing that by doing the same process again. Like, okay, let's do a speed build test. Okay, let's have a look at the course. Let's see how, like, count the oscillations. And by the time the 4 minute gun goes and you're entering and versusing the your opponent for the first time, you're pretty clued in.
So ahead of this, do you do any type of stillness, meditation, visualization, self-talk, anything like that leading up to once you're with the team and you're doing your normal routine to prepare?
Visualization is definitely one that I think everyone on our team practices, because you will meet the same scenarios again and again and again. So you always just try and visualize them, and what can you do better? How do you think you can improve this process? And even while we're racing, that's happening. When I'm
Okay.
working the bow, which is at the very front of the boat, majority of the upwind, I'm feeding information back about the pressure so the people behind me can make the decisions they need to make. But also I'm visualizing, okay, what's Zach going to do next? I'm thinking like what my skipper is already thinking.
And what are you seeing when you visualize that?
I'm seeing like if we're going to pivot, if we're going to tack,
Okay.
if
You're
if we're at the top.
visualizing movements.
Yeah, and kind of the playbook as well.
Okay.
So if we wanted to get to the top mark, if we were coming into the top mark first, but we wanted to make sure we had a nice big gap to go around the mark, what's going to be the play there? What's the likelihood of that happening? What do I need to do to help make that happen? And that's kind of, you're constantly running those risk assessments and scenarios in your head.
Right.
And it's always changing. Sailing is like a game of 3D chess where the board is fluid.
Well, and that's life. I mean,
Yeah.
life, everything changes every second.
Yeah,
So
our big motto is just control the controllables, and everything else will happen, whether you like it or not.
have you ever found yourself having to unlearn something to improve?
Yeah, for sure. One of the big ones is you're racing, and sometimes you might lose 6 races in a row, and you're like, oh God, we suck. But then you're not really thinking, you're in a bad headspace, and you're not really thinking about what you could have done better.
Yeah.
Or what you could have learned from it. You're just like, oh, that was a terrible race. Let's forget about it. But you shouldn't, because the way I like to think about it is, if you lose 6 races, you're 6 races closer to your next win.
And not only that, you have a lot of data to reflect on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Improve on.
Exactly. Yeah. You obviously learn a lot when you do win. That's super important to learn how you won. But you learn a huge amount when you lose.
Yeah, and there's something I say all the time: feedback is feed forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And being willing to, what we focus on, we get more of. If we're in the, oh shit, we lost 6 races, yeah, and you go, I suck, yeah, now you do. But if you go, we lost 6 races, all right, let's take a look, let's review this quick, let's figure out what we did wrong, and now we know exactly, having a plan forward, feed forward, what we need to do next time, or what we need to adjust or add or take out, or whatever the case is.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I mean, this team that I'm racing with is fantastic. Everyone is so positive all the time. We finished dead last in Sweden. Okay. We were in good company, however. We had current world number 1 was beside us in second last, and world number 2 was in third last. So that tells you the kind of the level of competition we were paired with.
Yeah, for sure. And you've learned this, I'm certain of, from what I've heard of everything that you've shared. If you won all the time, you're not growing.
No. So, and if I won all the time, honestly, I would get bored. And I think that's what I love about match racing is you're not going to win every single race. And I really like the adaptation. Every dog has their day. It just depends when that day is, I guess. So it comes back to, you lose a few races.
For sure.
But your dog day is coming. You're 6 races closer.
And we should welcome that, right? We should welcome, we can't be successful without failure, and there's no failure without success.
Yeah. And every single race you do, win or lose, you're that bit closer to what your ultimate goal is. And that's the same in careers. If you're at a job and maybe you get told off, or a project doesn't go your way, you take a risk and it doesn't work out. Well, you can see it as a failure, like, oh, I won't do that again. Or you can learn what went wrong from it, and then know that you're one step closer to getting it right.
There it is. At a softball tryout last night, and in practices, I explained to these girls, if you can get paid millions of dollars as a baseball player, okay, and hit 3 out of 10, and you're great. You're a great hitter. If you hit 3 out of 10, what does that mean? You miss 7 out of 10. And they look at me and they're like, shaping the mind correctly, as opposed to, I failed again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It takes them further and further out of it. And to be candid, man, I see kids today, parents pressuring them so much, no matter what sport it is, and they're not having fun. And that's the big reason behind why I'm doing this podcast, why I use hypnosis, neurolinguistic programming, and all this stuff to clear out the bad programming and install the good stuff that's going to make them their best on the field, in the water, in life, no matter what they do. Because at some point, sports are going to end regardless. Okay. And like you described in sailing right now, you're kind of, sounds like you're on a transition, because you get to 19 and then it kind of ends. And that, keeping it going, transitioning is a big thing. And I know we got to wrap it up here soon, but you have a challenge ahead of you right now that we were speaking about what you should do, or, in your life, right? Do you want to talk about that a little bit, or?
Yeah, so I'm coming to a crossroads, or maybe I'm already at the crossroads. At this level of competition, it is so tough, and you've really got to be committed. Um, and I've had the fortunate opportunity to travel the world and meet so many amazing people, and everywhere I go, we kind of chuckle and laugh at like, "Hey, this is pretty cool. This is our vacation." But yeah, we're thinking now like you can't do a full-time job and be a full-time professional sailor either. And it's like in your career, you can't half-ass it. If you want to be really, really good at something, you've just got to go all in. So that's the crossroads where I'm at now, is making that decision to go all in and hopefully win the World Match Racing Tour, or go all in on product development, and launch really, really good global products. And that I'm just navigating that right now.
Well, what if I could give you a piece of advice that I've learned from mentors? Find some stillness, quietness, even if you start 30 seconds, because it's hard for a lot of us to be quiet and still. We're programmed for an 8-second attention span. Okay. But as you find how to go from 30 seconds of being quiet and just letting things happen and be, to a minute, to a minute and a half, I guarantee you an answer will come some way, somehow. And that again is trusting and having faith in things we can't see in the universe and all kinds of stuff. So I would try it and let me know if something happens. The longer you can be still and quiet, the more that will come. And it may be just an answer. Could be a voice, could be a sign, could be anything. You know what I'm saying? So what's one thing, because we got to wrap up, what's one thing that you can share as a departing, hey, for parents, coaches, kids, athletes, anything?
I think it is that every dog has its day metaphor. Every race you do, every match you do, every assignment in school, good or bad, it's always one step closer. And if there's a finite number of tests that you have to do before you get there, you're always picking away at it, one step closer.
Excellent. And don't half-ass it, right?
Don't half-ass it. I've tried it. It doesn't work.
Yeah, no. I think everybody has tried that by nature.
Yeah. So, some lessons you have to learn the hard way multiple times.
Be aware, be open-minded, pay attention, have a plan, take action. I could go on and on and on, right?
Yeah.
All right, man. Hey, great to meet you. I wish you all the best tomorrow at your race. Ryan, thank you. That was full of sail, insights, grit, stories, real world wisdom from you and your experience that really caught the wind and it didn't let up, man. And I appreciate that. You coming on and supporting this mission. If anyone's watching live or the replay, if you didn't walk away with at least 3 aha moments, rewind it and, get your snacks or whatever. And if you have to take notes, take notes. Seriously, that was world class. I mean, that was good information. And I really appreciate you showing up, Ryan, with sharp wisdom.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And before we wrap up, anyone listening who wants to connect with you, follow your racing, ask a question, where's the best place they can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm available on LinkedIn. My inbox is always open. Or Instagram at RiboFacts. And the best place is Sail Plus Racing on Instagram. We update there. Racing? Yeah, Sail Plus Racing. We update that quite a lot. And we have a blog and a website. It's pretty good. You should check it out.
Cool. Excellent. And to everybody else, if you're tuning in, if this got a reaction from you, made you think, gave you something to chew on, or maybe you shout yes and at a red light, Like, subscribe, share it. Don't keep it to yourself. Everybody needs to have mindset priorities first to be the best self and live their best life. Here's where we can stay connected. My YouTube channel is Championship Mindset -1. Look for the black, blue, white, yellow, just like in the corner that you're seeing right now. Championship Mindset on Facebook, Spencer Senn on LinkedIn, and Instagram, Championship Mindset 1. Okay. Again, look for the black logo. And if you're ready to upgrade your own mindset, whether you're 10 or 110, head over to freedomandhealing.com and book your free discovery call. We'll talk about the I.G.O.A.T method, what I call advanced mindset mapping, and how to rewire the fluff, get out the garbage, that's been slowing you down. Let's upgrade that internal software before your life throws another pop-up error. Okay. And until next time, mindset isn't guesswork. It's trainable, and it's the edge that changes everything. See you in the next one.